Let's do some price checks. So best DFS plays for their prices. We're talking for the classic contest here for the divisional round. Ulrich, go ahead. Start us off at quarterback.
As tempted as I am to do a 180 here and talk about Joe Burrow because he does have great potential, I'm gonna go to Aaron Rodgers here at 7,100 just to save face. Look, I really do like the spot for Aaron Rodgers from a fantasy perspective, though. I mean, you look at that first game against San Francisco. What did they do? They just chewed apart the San Francisco secondary. And I think that's going to be the case again here. You know, and people talk about Nick Bosa and the defense, but the Green Bay Packers have a very good offensive line that's good at keeping Aaron Rodgers upright. Aaron Rodgers is very good at getting the ball away quickly, too. I think that Aaron Rodgers is also going to be pressured to throw the ball just a little bit more than usual here. Maybe it's just because they want to put away the 49ers and just make this a statement game, or maybe the 49ers offense just makes us a lot closer, and it could be either of those scenarios is likely. But I think Rodgers is in for a big day here, and I think he's a very, very good choice here. A lot of people going to beat on that Kansas City-Buffalo game. I think taking Aaron Rodgers at 7,100 is going to be the sharp play this week.
Maddie, you got a sharp play there, DFS at quarterback?
So I kind of just think that the team that makes the prices here at DraftKings just did a really good job across the board for all positions. Like, nothing stands out to me as especially great, but I do think if we look into stacks and look at which quarterbacks will be the easiest to fit players with, Tom Brady stands out there because I think at other positions you have cheaper players where Brady's price cumulatively with his team makes him look a little more appealing. So I think at 6,800, like, he's similar to Rodgers at 7,100. So you're getting a slight discount. Mahomes and Josh Allen are more expensive. And I think Brady is better than Tannehill, Burrow, much better than Garoppolo for fantasy. So just getting that little bit of discount, and then his receivers are cheaper too with all the injuries they've had. So I like Brady a little more if you're trying to stack the team.
All right, Pearce said quarterback. Josh Allen, most expensive at 7,600.
Pay the price. Take Josh Allen. He was perfect last week. He was perfect last week against a pretty good New England team. All of a sudden, we're dismissing New England as not a good team. They're pretty good. And it was one of the coldest games in the history of the NFL, and it didn't stop him from being perfect. Now, Kansas City should be a tougher matchup over the last 10 games. They lead the league in limiting scoring. They've been really great at home this season. But if you look a little closer over those last 10 games, who's Kansas City played? One of their tougher matchups was a Jordan Love-led Green Bay team. The Chargers, the up-and-down Chargers scored 28 points on them. The Broncos scored 24 points on the Chiefs. The Bengals scored 34 points on the Chiefs. Buffalo is going to score, and all the points are going to go through Josh Allen.
All right, at running back, Derrick Henry hasn't played in months, and he is the most expensive guy at 7,500. Maddie, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, there's some uncertainty. I don't know if he gets the kind of workload that maybe we would have expected had he been healthy coming in. So that's a tough call for me. I mean, I think the most underpriced running backs potentially could come from Kansas City. We just don't know yet. So I'm just keeping a close eye on that situation because Darrell Williams didn't practice yesterday. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did practice, but he's missed games. If you take both of those guys out, you get Jerick McKinnon basically as the starter and just doing just about everything at $4,800. So with the Chiefs being the last game on the slate, like, that's really difficult if this news drags out into Sunday. But if McKinnon is the starter, that's the most underpriced running back, I think, by a lot. And even if one of Williams or Edwards-Helaire plays, we could still see McKinnon, who has been playing well, we could still see him lead the backfield. So I think he's someone you definitely at least need to consider just because of the way that situation could break.
Yeah, Pearce, Henry is a critical decision point this weekend for DFS.
Yeah, if you want to lose some money, go ahead and play Derrick Henry and his 3 yards per carry. 3 yards per carry, and we don't even know if he's going to get the volume that at least helped him earlier this season. Running back is a wasteland this week. And you know what? Henry actually is probably the best running back. That tells you everything that you need to know. I'm going to look at Fournette. If Fournette can get into play, really needs him. No Godwin, no Brown. The team is hurting. They're going to need him to have some sort of presence in this game. I know the Rams are good against the run, and I'm not expecting him to have a big game on the ground, but we know that he is a pass-catching back, and the Rams are below average against receiving running backs. Last time the Rams played Tampa, they allowed 9 receptions and 50 yards and a touchdown to Giovanni Bernard. But running back being what it is, if Fournette starts, gets 50 yards on the ground, is active in the passing game, gets the goal line carries, that's going to be good enough. If you can get a running back that gets into the end zone this week, you're probably going to be fine.
All right, Geoff, which running back do you like this weekend in DFS? Talking classic contest.
Yeah, so as per usual, Pearce is like half right. He's right that running back is a bit of a wasteland. He's obviously wrong about everything he said about the Titans. Some of that cut off for me, luckily. But I think that because the running back position is just so like variables and we're waiting for injury news, I think Cam Akers at 5,500 is actually a very, very nice play this week. Look, there's nobody who loves a player more than Sean McVay loves Cam Akers. I mean, this dude just came off an Achilles injury. He got 58% of the snaps last week. He got 18 touches. Yeah, the ground game, maybe it wasn't that efficient, but we saw what Cam Akers can do in the passing game. He's much more versatile than Sony Michel. 1 catch, 40 yards. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers gave up the second most receptions to opposing running backs. And if you look at Tampa Bay, they've been a little bit banged up on defense too. They've actually allowed 5.1 yards per carry over their last 3 games. And some of that is Jalen Hurts induced, but they really haven't been as dominant a rush defense over their last 5 or 6 games. I think this is a spot where if the Rams get ahead, you will see Cam Akers take 20-plus carries. I'm fully expecting him to lead this field again. I do not think you're going to see much Sony Michel in this game. And I think that is the low-owned play I'm really interested in for these 4-game slates in big fields.
Definitely doesn't look like a dude who tore his Achilles this summer.
Absolutely not.
It's wild. Pearce, what about at wide receiver? Price check for us.
Cooper Kupp, I don't care about the price at wide receiver. We're obviously not excited about spending money at running back, so you got to spend somewhere. And if we're expecting a lot of passing, then we probably should go with some of the top-tier receivers, maybe the best one available. Tampa, 27th when it comes to yards after the catch. Cooper Kupp, number 1 when it comes to yards after the catch. He has 850 yards after the catch. Most receivers don't even have 850 yards, let alone after they have caught the ball. This is obviously Kupp's biggest game, but this is Matthew Stafford's biggest game of his career. And I would expect that he's going to throw at least 15 balls Kupp's way, and with 15 targets, 15 opportunities for yards against the catch against the Tampa team, I think the upside here is tremendous.
Geoff, he's the highest priced player on this slate. I mean, 17 points last week. That's a down week for this dude, but he's now $400 cheaper at 8.6.
Yeah, look, I mean, if we see Cooper Kupp play well again and just smash this slate, it wouldn't shock me. But I have to lean Davante Adams here. Like, I absolutely do. I mean, everyone is talking about Cooper Kupp and his fantastic season. Davante Adams has 3 games on DraftKings with 30 or more DraftKings points over his last 7 games. That's 4 games over his last 7 games where he's just absolutely demolished slates. And again, I mean, like this San Francisco secondary, I can't stress it enough, man. Like, they're just not good at covering teams' wide receiver ones. They've allowed 11 touchdowns to wide receivers over the last 8 games. And all of those touchdowns, they haven't come to like fluky guys. They've come against teams' number 1 wide receivers. They don't have the talent back there to stop a guy like Davante Adams. So when I'm looking at Kupp and Adams here and who I want to pay up for, and I'll even throw Deebo Samuel in the mix, I think Davante Adams is like clearly the number 1 choice for me. And I'm not saying it's not close or Cooper Kupp is just going to go and burst into flames this week or something, or you know, Deebo Samuel's going to get a bunch of touches. But I think Davante Adams is the clear number 1 choice here. That is the guy with the best matchup and the guy who's like usage I feel the most safe with. So I'm going to go Davante Adams as my number 1 wide receiver here.
And like his quarterback, he feels very matchup proof. Matt, wide receiver, who do you like?
So the guy I like, the biggest concern I have with him is how popular he'll be, but he hasn't been mentioned. Geoff and Pearce didn't pick him. So maybe that says something as far as like how the chalk is going to look. But Stephon Diggs is only $6,500. Pearce did talk about Josh Allen, and I do think the Bills will be a pretty popular team, but Diggs is so much cheaper than the high end of the receiver range. And if you look at his game log, he hasn't been as good recently. But the reason for that, for the most part, is the Bills have just had huge leads. They haven't needed to pass in the fourth quarter in basically any of their recent games. The Patriots game was a blowout. They ended the regular season with blowout wins over the Jets and the Falcons. They're playing the Chiefs this week on the road. I think that as much as the Bills played well against Kansas City the first time around in Kansas City, it would be pretty crazy to expect the Bills to win via blowout again. And assuming the game's close or the Bills are behind, Diggs is probably going to have to do a lot. So I don't think he's the highest scoring player on the slate or anything, but $6,500 is just such a severe discount off of the rest of the top end of this receiver range. I think he probably is the best value play.
And Chiefs have allowed a league-leading 61 catches to the wide receiver position across the last 4 games. Guys, let's be quick here on value. Jeff, who do you like?
There's a couple players I like in the Cincinnati-Tennessee game, a wide receiver. I'm going to talk about the Tennessee guy. It's Julio Jones. He's averaged 107 yards in 8 career playoff games. He's got 9 targets in his last game. Everyone's just kind of forgotten about Julio Jones. I think there's a scenario here. Derrick Henry opens up this passing game a bit. Julio Jones smashes for a decent day. 4,700, going to be really low owned this week.
All right, who is your guy, Maddie? Value play.
Yeah, he's already been mentioned, so this will be quick, but I think Leonard Fournette probably just is the most underpriced player across the board. We don't know yet that Ronald Jones is out. That'll help. I think projections across the industry are going to have Jones playing as of now, but he hasn't been practicing. So assuming he gets ruled out, Fournette's going to look a little better. I think that his price is way too low.
Pearce, your value play this weekend is who?
Jerick McKinnon, Matt already mentioned him, but I want to throw out the idea that a lot of his rushes and receptions were on first down, meaning that he is a serious weapon and not just a garbage time throwaway guy. And running back is a garbage time throwaway pick this week, so McKinnon's pretty good deal here.